And welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that will make you walk the plank. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 41, Vets and New Threats, Episode 11, and this episode was full of chaos, full of drama, all thanks in part to the Stake Your Claim twist. A twist that I talked at the end of last video saying that it was high risk, high reward, that you have to go so far as to put your own game on the line that I was wondering if anybody would even try it. Well, episode 11, we had a taker, but we'll get into all of that as we go through this review and recap. Let's first start off where last episode left off, and that was CT and Tay losing in the elimination against Theo and Adrienne. Coming back to the challenge house, we had some rookie men, CT's roommates, kind of doing an in memoriam to CT, and we get a highlight reel that is not very flattering to CT. It's on the same level as Leroy's retirement highlight reel, and they kept putting the one clip of him like flipping out in season 31 and him hitting the water really hard. That's like this highlight reel. A little later on, we get a really long confessional from Aviv, like abnormally long. So long that I had to question during it, being like, is this still Aviv's long confessional? It raised alarm bells with me that she was going to be a big fixture in this episode, whether it was going to be her and Jeremy winning into power and trying to make a move, or somebody maybe putting in a claim for her, or her and Jeremy finding themselves in the elimination, where it was definitely one of those things. We also hear from Jeremy, Sydney, America, and Dee, and they're talking about will anybody want to do a claim, and majority of them say no, and maybe it's better to not continuously go for Theo and Adrienne because then they may want to stake a claim, which is a very interesting idea, but we'll put a pin in that as now everybody dons their challenge gear, head down to meet up with TJ near a body of water, not heights over water, just near a body of water for this week's daily challenge called Band Together. In this daily challenge, one person per pair will be running a very long distance to retrieve a heavy item. When the person brings back the heavy item to their station, they will release the resistance band and put it on their pipe. Teams will use the resistance band to stabilize their pipe, and then they will try to walk the plank or walk the pipe to retrieve a flag at the end of it, and then walk back. The first team to retrieve their flag will win into power and win into safety. And the team that comes in last place will be going directly to the elimination. Now on paper, this daily challenge looks very, very simple and budget friendly. Not every single daily challenge will be or should be this big, ginormous production. Not everything can be a tower in or above the water or be a platform made up of 8 Stairmasters. Once you pay for all of that, you kind of have to have some daily challenges that are just wood, pipe, barrels, and stumps with resistance bands. And you know what? It works. This daily challenge is working on team communication, strategy, strength and endurance, as well as balance. And you know what? It was one of the more simple daily challenges of the season so far, and it kind of worked for me. Now, upon hearing the rules, I did feel like Dee and Derek, who weren't at the top of the performance points board the entire season, but given their stature, as well as I feel like they are both workhorses, I just felt like Dee and Derek were going to be in the mix for this win. And turns out that was a correct feeling as they were able to get enough resistance bands. Dee decides to go out on a ledge, go and get the flag, and they were able to secure first place quite easily. Derek getting his first daily challenge win of the season, and Dee getting her second. A pair that really surprised me in this daily challenge and how well they worked together was Ashley and Leo. When they were originally paired up in the Amazed challenge, they did not work well with each other. They weren't communicating properly to the point where when you got to the lock-in and they decided to be paired up with each other, I was like, this could be a huge headache. But in this challenge, they did extremely well, was in the running to get the win, but they secured second place. Third place, Sydney and Turbo. No surprise that they did well. Olivia and Will getting fourth place. No surprise there. It seems like they weren't on the same page with each other because Will said at one point he told Olivia to go get a stump with a resistance band, and instead she decided to get a big old drum, which took her extra time to bring it back to their station, and that took them out of the running for the win. I still think that they didn't necessarily need the win, but they're still in the early days of working with each other, and I don't think that this is like time to sound the alarms on them not being able to work together. 5th place was Nani and Justin, 6th place is Cedric and Michaela, 7th is Anissa and Jake, 8th place is Adrienne and Theo, 9th place is America and Leroy. It comes down to the final 2 teams of Jonna and Gabe, Jeremy and Aviv. Jeremy and Aviv, on paper, seem like the strongest pair, but in this specific daily challenge, they looked out of sorts. And for some reason, Aviv just couldn't get her balance on the pole. Jeremy was just really big and couldn't get to the very end. Gabe is also very big, but he steps up for his team, is able to walk across the plank and get that flag, keeping him and Jonna out of last place, getting second to last in 10th place, sending Jeremy and Aviv directly to the elimination, which is quite shocking, I won't lie. Now coming back to the challenge house, the downstairs /UK /closet alliance is trying to come up with a plan on how they can get another number from the upstairs alliance to go in against Jeremy and Aviv. Theo throws out there, maybe they can figure out a way to get Ashley and Leo sent in. However, you have D, who just won, telling Michaela that she would like to say Anissa and Jake, and then Michaela is telling the rest of the upstairs alliance that let's forget that, why fix what's not broken, and let's just keep on saying Theo and Adrienne's name. The rest of the upstairs alliance agrees. They decided to shut any strategy talk down for the night as everybody gets ready for a costume party. There's some dancing, there's some good times, there's some party games happening where each pair has to answer questions about the other person. This is a really nice moment, and it was kind of fleeting. It almost went by a little too quickly. I just wish we could see some of these fun moments highlighted in the episode a little bit more. The next day, Theo tries to put his plan into action. He floats it over to Jonna, who then takes it to Gabe. Now, here's the thing. Gabe really stepped up for him and Jonna to not get last place. However, it is kind of frustrating, the team dynamic that is Gabe and Jonna. Gabe feels like he has a chip on his shoulder, that he is just kind of put out from having Jonna as a partner. He says he doesn't trust her whenever she's talking at like the daily challenges or in the confessionals. He's always making faces. At the costume party, he was making faces, and in the confessional, he keeps on saying that, I can't trust Jonna, I can't trust Jonna, I can't. Guess what, man? She's your partner. She is the only person that has your back 100%, because if you succeed, she succeeds. If you fail, she fails. So it's kind of frustrating that she is telling him what she has heard. He shuts her out. He doesn't say anything about it. He just goes, that doesn't sound right. And whatever she told him, he instantly runs and tells Jake, and then Jake gets Theo involved because Theo told Jonna that he had a preference of saying Ashley and Leo's name. All Jonna did was say what she heard to Gabe, and Gabe just instantly run and tattletales over to Jake, which then causes this whole commotion in the house that Jonna is making up stuff. But when the challenge house gives you lemons, Theo made lemonade. Because if Leo and Ashley's name is not sticking, Theo decides to use this opportunity to kind of push Gabe, pressure him into staking a claim on someone else. This may be the only chance to save Theo and Adrienne from going directly into the elimination via the vote. If Gabe decides to try to stake a claim on somebody else's partner, go into the claim game, and if he loses, then him and Jonna will go directly into the elimination. And that's exactly what happens, because we get to the voting ceremony and Gabe stands up and says that I want to claim Nani. So I want to verse Justin in the claim game. TJ then takes Justin and Gabe outside, straps them up with GoPros, and tells them that they have to run alongside this mountain, do a 3D cube puzzle, and then run back to the house. And the first person back to the house after constructing their 3D cube puzzle will win. This is a relatively simple game, and it just felt like it could have been either Justin or Gabe. Now, back at the voting ceremony, there's a lot of commotion while the claim game is going on, where people are seeing through Theo. because Theo's name was up to be said and was going to be the vote no matter what. That is until Gabe made the claim. So a lot of people are coming for Theo. Theo is trying to defend himself. Now the Upstairs Alliance is very frustrated about all this development because they want to keep all their numbers together, so they really want to keep Nany and Justin together. Jonna and Gabe are not a threat to them or their game. They'll finish towards the bottom or last place, they'll be sent directly to the elimination, or they'll be an easy vote when there's a week where it gets a little bumpy for us. And they really wanted to vote Theo and Adrienne in again and again and again and again because it is the easy vote for right now. But here's the thing. I don't think Gabe really needed any pushing to want to make a claim or to make this move. I feel like he was always going to look for a reason and or permission from one person or another to make a claim, go for somebody else as a partner, and then try to run the game away from Jonna. You know, you did have Theo, you did have Olivia trying to push Gabe to make a claim, and I feel like that was more so for their game than Gabe's, but you also had Jake pushing Gabe to make a claim, and I feel like that was truly Jake looking out for Gabe in that moment. So again, the Upstairs Alliance can be mad at Theo and put the blame on him for getting into Gabe's mind, but I think Gabe was always going to look to make a claim. Maybe not exactly this week if all of this commotion didn't happen and chaos didn't happen with Jonna and saying Leo's name and everything, but it would have happened eventually. We finally get the results from the claim game, and Justin has won. He and Nany get to stay as partners. Gabe and Jonna are going directly into the elimination against Jeremy and Aviv. But another point to this twist that I think is very important is that TJ then announces because Justin won the claim game, he and Nany are now permanent partners. No one else can make a claim either on Justin or Nany. They are it. They are together 100% permanently, which I think is very, very important. Now, before getting to the arena and the elimination, we do go to a conversation with Adrienne, Olivia, and Anissa, where Adrienne is talking about how frustrated she is with Theo, that he kicked up all this dirt and made so many people mad at the voting ceremony. Him and Turbo were in this big argument because Theo was calling out everybody on that side. I would always look out for Nany. I'm looking out for Nany more than I'm looking out for you, Theo. There was this whole big mess that now we're going to have Theo versus Turbo, but Adrienne already knows that her and Theo are already not in a good space, and now he's doing all of this chaos and calling people out and getting people mad that now she feels like I'm stuck in a corner, and it brings up the possibility that maybe Adrienne will be looking to put a claim in somewhere else. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, but everybody goes down to the arena to meet up with TJ for this week's elimination. Pull it together. One person from each team will go up a cargo net and then pull out pegs and drop them on the ground. Then the other teammate will start collecting them and putting them in the climbing wall next to him. Once all the pegs are put up in the climbing wall, then the player will have to climb up the wall and press a button. Be the first person to press the button and you win and stay in the game. After seeing the climbing wall, after hearing the instructions, I was like, this is going to be an uphill battle for Jonna and Gabe. Now, I will say it was much closer than I had originally thought it would be, especially with Jonna versus Aviv in part 1 of getting all the pegs out. It was pretty close, but on the back half of Jeremy versus Gabe of putting all the pegs in, Jeremy was able to overtake him and press that button and get the win. I feel like Jonna and Gabe did a great job in this elimination, and towards the end, it really felt like maybe there could have been something there. It felt like once the voting ceremony happened and they were going directly into the elimination, Jonna and Gabe were able to finally talk, and it felt like there was a point where they started kind of seeing eye to eye. It's just getting to this point was kind of frustrating. Look, I get it that Gabe felt like he wasn't getting as much respect from the vet women, and he felt like his performance was kind of going under the radar. He did have 13 performance points, which was more towards the bottom than the top, and he just had a really poor social game. Like, I didn't understand why he had such opposition to Jonna. He was treating her as if this was a rival season or an ex's season, where I get it, that Jonna may have not been your first choice, But guess what? She is your partner, and you should be trying to work together to succeed. And it just seemed like he was combating her for no reason. It just baffled my mind. Their dynamic and how he always laughed when she wanted to talk to him. And he was like, I can't trust her. We never really connected on anything because you always dismissed her and didn't want to talk and have conversations. And it just doesn't surprise me that they ended up in elimination this early on and was eliminated. But that's it for this week's episode. You got Jonna and Gabe eliminated from the game. Jeremy and Aviv get to come back into the game, and it feels as though the chaos isn't over. And next week's episode in the preview looks even wilder, as well as possibly more claims are going to happen, which is very, very exciting. I thought that this episode was fine. I thought the daily challenge was simple but effective. I did enjoy it. I thought that the claim game was simple but effective. I liked the voting ceremony. I think that was a lot more action-packed than the claim game really was. I wonder if there's other claim games or if it's just the same one where everybody's just running out to do a puzzle and then run back. It's kind of hard to tell, and it's kind of hard to imagine that there are going to be a wide variety of claim games, but we'll have to wait and see if anybody else makes a claim. But I want to turn it over to you. What'd you think about this episode? Please let me know down in the comments section below. What'd you think about the daily challenge? What'd you think about the elimination? What'd you think about the claim game? And do you think it was the smart decision for Gabe to swing this early as well as go for Nany? Were you surprised that he went for Nany? Let me know that down in the comment section below. And are you sad to see Jonna and or Gabe be eliminated from the game? What do you think about that elimination, as well as what do you think about the voting ceremony? Theo versus Turbo. Do you feel like this is going to be a rivalry heated up to the highest degree? And who do you think will come out on top, Turbo or Theo? Let me know anything and everything down in the comments section below. And I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 41 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.